who abandoned their core audience and paid the price for it. Little website called Dig did a major site refresh to increase site revenue without considering the impact and lost their entire user base to Reddit essentially overnight. JCPenney changed their stores about 12 years ago to go after a cooler audience. Turns out the cool kids didn't want to shop there and loyal JCP shoppers didn't want to anymore either. They've been trying to undo this for years but still struggling. I just learned from a TikTok that Applebee's tried to become a club at night to attract younger customers, but no one wanted to go hang out at Applebee's, and all the old people who used to go Applebee's didn't like that it turned into a club at night, so they stopped going, and now no one likes Applebee's. Boeing, built by engineers, corrupted by Wall Street, moved their HQ away from Seattle's to Chicago just to get away from listening to engineers. Now to Virginia just by DC to continue their hyper-focus on Washington lobbying. Try licking balls of short-term investors and politicians instead of focusing on innovation and safety. Killed hundreds of people in 2 crashes and lost advantage in all industries: civil aviation, aerospace, and defense. MTV loved watching music videos and the occasional news behind the music, etc., but their main focus was music videos. Then, for some insane reason, they ditched their tried and true format and became a reality show nightmare. They lost it all. I don't even know if MTV is still around. Sci-Fi Channel. At some point there was no sci-fi on it. The Raiders used to have a great home field advantage in Oakland. Now every game in Vegas is half filled with away fans. Tumblr. Unity Software. Blizzard Entertainment. Does anyone remember BioWare? They created KOTOR games, made Mass Effect and Dragon Age? I don't know what exactly happened, but Mass Effect 3 and Dragon Age 2 ended their studio. Huge fights internally between the story teams and executives spilled onto Penny Arcade, but I don't recall the specifics. OnePlus. It was affordable with decent specs. I'm surprised to not see BlackBerry here. They had cornered the high-paying business users of mobile phones. They wanted to become mass market though and came up with ads like "We are the BlackBerry Boys." Got kicked out of both the categories. Cartoon Network. Rob Thomas, not the singer with Veronica Mars. He had fans crowdfund the movie and then obliterated the first season of the series reboot. It was a slap in the face to all the loyal marshmallows. He thought he knew better and in the end, thought his vision would be restored, but fans aren't so forgiving. This fan isn't. That's for sure. Volition rebooting Saints Row fits the bill. They removed tons of elements from the earlier games that fans loved, and allowed the change to become a core aspect of the game's pre-launch promotion. The result was a game that reviewed and sold poorly, and Volition closing its doors a year after release. Ja Rule. You can argue that he originally abandoned his hardcore style from VVV. But with his mainstream success between Rule 336 Pain is Love, he felt the heat with 50 Cent G-Unit blowing up, switched up from his radio-friendly sound, and flopped with Blood in My Eye. This YouTuber called Ray William Johnson. Guy was one of the top YouTubers with a huge following, and then abandoned most of his shows to chase bigger roles in showbiz. Game of Thrones. They shit the bed so hard in the last season that no one thinks of it fondly. You hear of people rewatching epic shows over and over again. I don't know a single person who has gone back to GOT. I tried to watch the first season again, but I was still too mad and hurt about the ending. Radio Shack. Olive simple menu that was solid for casual night or easy sad that pop culture made fun of it. as Fuax actually tried to get Fuax have never got rid of the artery-clogging chicken con. Broccoli LMAO. Creative Assembly. They're the makers of the Total War franchise. They were developing a title called Hyenas, which was a zoomer looter shooter extraction game. They invested like $100 million into it, only for Sega to cancel it. To make up costs, they jacked up the price of the WH3 DLC to $25, and are releasing a smaller Total War for the price of a full game. They cashed in their community goodwill so that they could develop a game that was DOA. The NHL. They desperately want to grow the game but make it increasingly more difficult to actually watch them unless you are able to pay for a minimum of 2 subscriptions. Craigslist Personals. The new Saints Row reboot did just this, and it cost Volition their entire company. I will never turn down a chance to talk shit about the reboot of Dexter. Jennifer Grey. She paid through her nose. Former author, current Twitch streamer and habitual liar and grifter Patrick Rothfuss. Most MMOs. I get it. Hardcore raiders are vocal. But 95 of your subscribers are filthy casuals who likely won't jump ship 2 weeks after patch and not return until next patch. The writers of the Witcher Netflix series. Few did they fuck up. Looking at you, Creative Assembly, abandoning historical Total Wars and Warhammer 3 in favor of developing a guaranteed dead on arrival hero shooter for the past 2 to 3 years. Dying Light 2. After Techland sold out to Tencent and added microtransactions, the game's been getting review bombed left and right, and now they are trying everything to retain their base to little avail. Guns are finally being added in the next update, something they have been adamantly against since release. IDK if it will be enough. I doubt it, but we will see. Lots of fans are pretty pissed off with them right now. Halo. They keep trying to appeal to the broader audience instead of just doing what their fans love. The director literally said Halo is competitive at its core, which is completely fucking wrong. Everyone who was a part of Bungie Halo knows that at its core, it's just for fun. Being a shooter, of course it gets competitive, but that's never been the heart of Halo. It's literally dead now. Halo hasn't been mainstream since 343 took and ruined it. There used to be competition between COD and Halo. Now nobody even knows what Halo is. Kodak. They weren't believers in the digital revolution, paid a heavy price. DeviantArt. Weezer, until they went back to the shack. ESPN. It's all talking heads yelling at each other with ridiculous takes or stories about LeBron's shoes. Gone are the days you can turn that channel on and find out what happened in sports that day. In addition, a bunch of people think they are too woke, so they won't watch either. The Simpsons was a comedy centered in absurdity, focusing on a ridiculous satirization of American life, media and culture. Eventually, it began to be influenced by the shows that were inspired by its South Park and Family Guy, namely an incorporated cruder, raunchier, more adult-centered humor as opposed to the clever and silly jokes of the past. eBay. I used to sell shit for basically beer money. They've made it now where they only want eBay stores want you to give free shipping and charge fees on that, and discourage the auction format. It used to be a place to clean out your garage knickknacks and what have you, and now it's just a commercial commerce site. I probably haven't looked at the site in 10 years, so maybe they've changed, but I doubt it. Rooster Teeth. Allbirds. Like they were a hyper-environmental comfortable shoe. Then they made a million different kinds and types and just became a shoe company. And I haven't seen anyone wear them for years.